I'd like to welcome everyone to Ty Sparks Growth Mindset of a Champion podcast series on YouTube. I have a special guest here today, the day after Christmas, and it's Chris Godby. Chris, welcome to Growth Mindset of a Champion podcast.
Glad to be here. Hope you
Great
had a
day.
good Christmas.
Yes, Chris had a great one, and I know you and I had ran into each other back in the summer and played in a tournament down in E-Town in the
Hmm.
CKTS tourney that you guys have these tourneys all over the state. And it's a fascinating time to get out there and play tennis in the summer and get out and meet everybody and toss the ball up and battle a little bit on the tennis court. We had a great match, Chris, and we got to unite with each other after many years of
Hmm.
bumping into each other at the tournaments.
Hmm.
And I've just always been impressed with the CKTS and all the things that that tournament has done for tennis in Kentucky. I know you guys have linked up with USTA Kentucky throughout the years and kind of worked hand in hand a little bit. Chris, I just wanted to welcome you to the podcast and tell you how excited I am again to have you on today.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Chris, just want to kind of kick it off. I know that you and I have a passion for tennis, and along with many other people in the state of Kentucky and throughout the U.S. And it's an amazing sport. I know you've got children that play tennis, and I tried to get my son into it, but he went to basketball. I just could not get him to.
Hmm.
He's starting to play more pickleball now, and he's picking up a racket. So he's 35 now, so I'm hoping he gets the bug. I got the bug at age
Yeah.
22 to play, right? I
Yeah.
was a I was a multiple letter athlete in high school, other sports, and I always thought of tennis as kind of, had little white shorts on, and I just thought it was not a serious game, right? For some reason, I just thought those guys got white shirts on, they got little wooden rackets, and they run around. This is back in the late 70s, right?
Yeah.
And I just never really uh, I was so excited about basketball and football and baseball and all those other sports. And I grew up in a housing project that had a tennis court right across the street, and we never
Uh,
played on it. And we always went
yeah.
right to the basketball court.
Yeah.
And then when I was 22, Chris, I had a buddy of mine challenged me to hitting a tennis ball, and I went out and met him on the court, and he beat my pants off, and I immediately went to Walmart and got me a Spalding tennis racket, Chris,
There
and
you
it was
go.
all history after that. I'm now 66, right? So I've been going at it for 44 years. But what intrigues me, Chris, is it's a sport of a lifetime. And
Hmm.
I've seen so many great things that's come out of the CKTS and what kids in high school get from playing tennis and just picking that racket up and being able to go out on the court. I just want to ask you, Chris, how you got started. When did you pick up your first tennis racket and kind of what motivated you to play tennis?
I was probably about 12 years old. That would have been like 1982-ish. Um, I grew up in Science Hill, Kentucky. That's in Pulaski County, a very small town, and north of Somerset. And we had a city park. Well, they still have it. They still have a city park, but it had two tennis courts, and they were just blacktop. I mean,
Right.
sealed blacktop. And the net was, I don't know if you've ever seen this before, even though you go way back too, chain link net.
Yes. My
Yeah.
first my first tennis courts was at Park and Recs in Woodford County with chain link nets. And we had six courts and I mean daylight to dark we played out there. And those chain link those things don't break. The ball hits
Yeah.
them, they either get stuck in them or you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So I can relate to chain link. You had those as well, right?
And so, I lived, just a half a mile or less by bicycle from the park. And my neighborhood friends and I, we would ride bicycles to the park. We were on baseball teams, little league and minor
Yep.
league and Babe Ruth baseball teams. Just something that every kid did back then. But there were always, I mean, this is early 80s, and you'll remember that the tennis was big in the United States
Yes.
in the early 80s. And there were those tennis courts were always full. And so, sometimes you'd ride by on your bike and just kind of stop and watch, especially if it was somebody you knew, maybe somebody you went to church with was out
Mhm.
there playing, or and I had some cousins of mine, some older girls that were cousins of mine that were always playing, and they ended up on the high school team, I think, at Somerset High. And so people were getting into tennis, and my actually my mother bought a racket, and I think she started to hit with some of the girls, some of the ladies from church too, and that didn't quite get me into it. What got me into it or pushed me onto that court was we had this youth lock-in party at my church, and somebody wheeled in a ping pong table.
Right.
And I fell in one night, fell in love with table tennis and couldn't get enough of it. So that was my first racket sport love. And I go home to our um, 3 bedroom, 1.5 bathroom ranch house with no basement and no garage, and therefore no room for a ping pong table. And I wasn't going to get a ping pong table. And honestly, it sounds silly, but I saw tennis as a giant version of ping pong where I could still do something similar to that. And then next thing you know, I'm recruiting a couple of my friends to hit tennis balls with me. You know, our parents had rackets in the garage or whatever, and um, and it was the blacktop had been sealed and you couldn't see the lines anymore, just barely. They like, didn't paint the lines.
Right.
And so I bought a can of paint at a local hardware store here as a 12-year-old. And I remember going there and painting those lines myself just to make that
Wow.
court look better, so we could hit on it and be able to call lines. And then so I started taking tennis lessons from my cousin that played, and then I progressed to another local guy that was a few years older than me that played high school tennis. Even a high school kid is good enough. A high school tennis player is good enough to help a beginner
Oh yes.
player, right?
Oh
Just get
yes.
started.
Yep.
And that's very helpful in communities like where I am now in Russell
Yep.
Springs and where I was then in Science Hill. Eventually, I progress on to Cliff Randall, the name you probably know.
Oh yeah, Cliff.
Um,
I'll go way back with Cliff. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
Cliff was actually my Sunday school teacher in fifth
Really?
grade. He and
What
his
about
wife
that?
Jerry were my Sunday
Yep.
school teachers,
That's
and
amazing.
he was a big time tennis player at that time, and he was always talking about tennis, and I thought he was really cool,
He
and
was cool,
sort of
man.
wanted to.
He had the dark hair, a little bit of length on it, and I went
Oh
down
yeah.
an Eagles Nest down in Somerset and played in his backyard. Played a tournament there
Hmm.
at the golf course. And him and Jury. This was gosh, this was back when I was 24 years old. It's a long time ago, 42 years ago, and
Yeah.
he was running the tournament. So we got a long way back. It's pretty
Hmm.
cool. Yeah.
But I went to one of
Yep.
his. He had a clinic
Yep.
for young adults. I took a clinic of his, and then the more I played, the more I played,
Yep.
and I've never, still to this day, don't consider myself a great player. I get very, very frustrated with myself. Um,
Well, I can tell you
I
something here. I'm going to tell you something I saw because I got to play it this summer, and
Okay.
I just want you to know you have improved tremendously. I mean, it shows you that when you start something out, if you focus on your nutrition, you focus on your weight a little bit,
Yep.
you've stayed lean, you've worked on your serve. I mean, I've seen it, man. You
Hmm.
and Tim Perkins, Mark and I played you guys, and it was a really good match. I mean, it was pretty daggone close, competitive, and I just know
It was close.
I've seen you progress. Okay, so the point is.
I
I'm
have,
going to tell
yeah.
you, you have gotten a lot better, and that work you put into it, impressed me, and I think it impressed Mark as well. Mark said, he's got all the mechanics. He gets to the net quick. He's aggressive. I said, that's what we got to do. But the funny thing is, it's a sport for a lifetime, man, and that's
Yes.
what people need to understand about tennis. You can have fun learning, you can have fun developing, you can have fun just hitting the ball, right? And as you
Hmm.
keep doing that and you put your mind to it, you will improve if you keep working at it. And you're a
Hmm.
prime example of somebody that's just gotten better year after year. So I have to throw
I
that
have
back
paid
at
for
you, right?
lessons as
Yep.
recently as 2 years ago. Like
Okay.
I
Yep.
am never satisfied with
Nope.
my level of play, and what I don't maybe have in a great backhand,
Yep.
or a consistent second serve. I try to make up for in fitness
Yeah,
to
I
some
see it.
extent.
Hey, it was hot out there. It was
or
90
you know,
degrees. Mark and I were grinding. We just had a
it was
three.
hot.
We just had a
It was
three-hour
so
match the
hot.
evening before, and
Yeah,
we thought we were going to win that one. And we get out there, and it's a dogfight. It's two tiebreakers,
yeah,
3 hours. And then we got into
yeah.
it with you boys, and that thing turned into a marathon. And
Yeah.
the point is, there is a lot to be said about fitness,
Hmm.
uh, showing up in the heat and getting used to it and playing in it, and
Yep.
I could tell you and Tim, that was mid season for you all. You guys had been in it a little bit. And Mark plays all the time. Me, I got out there. I
Hmm.
still ride bikes and do a lot, and I still play some, but nowhere
Uh-huh.
near what I used to. But I can tell you, I felt it, and you boys just kept attacking, and it was a lot of fun and a great battle. So
And then
I
you
just
had to
want to
play
tell you
again
that
later that day, didn't you?
we did, and we felt it. You guys
Yeah, I
took.
couldn't have done it. I mean, the older you get, the harder it
Yep.
is to recover. And you've got 10 years on me, so I'm not. I mean, I can't imagine the right now at 56, just the recovery, man, is
Yeah.
tough.
I'm 66, and I can tell you I did feel
Hmm.
it. But
Yeah.
part of me has still got the old tie in him. You remember the days when I would play singles and doubles, and
Hmm.
go to E-Town and win both of them. I've done that. I've done that 3 times, playing both of them, and I still think I can do that. But my body says
Amazing.
no, you cannot do that now, brother.
Yeah.
So and you start your legs, and you can drink all the Pedialyte you want, but there's a point there where you've got to listen to your body, man. But you still 56, dude. You still got some younger legs, and I mean, you do feel it though. I'm telling you, 10 more, you feel a little bit more. But it's that's what makes tennis so fun is. Regardless of your age, you can still get out there if you've got some technique and you keep work. We all work and develop and play with the young people too. It's a game you can play your entire life as long as your knees and hips and back and shoulders hold out, right? But it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, there's always people your own age that you can play with. There's
Right.
always people of similar skill level that you can get matched with. Of course, experienced players know all this, but
Yep.
anybody that's watching or listening that, wants to pick up tennis, even as an older adult, I mean, you can compete with people your own age and skill level.
Well, just 18 months ago, I was playing USTA, with the team that won the nationals, and I was playing 18 and
Hmm.
over and went 8-1. I mean, it can still happen, right? I mean, you can
Hmm.
still do it, but it takes up, for me, I go to the gym every day. I cycle every day. I'm doing my
Hmm.
push-ups and setups. I'm still going to fight and try to be the best 66-year-old I can be, right, Chris? You want
There
to
you
be the
go.
best 56-year-old you can be. And hopefully, by us sharing this communication with people out there, it'll make people understand it's never too late to pick up a tennis racket. It's
Hmm.
never too late to fall in love with tennis. Pickleball is taking over a lot of tennis courts right now. And,
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate for tennis. I play
Hmm.
pickleball as well a little bit just because, it's fun. It is fun. And I won't take anything away from pickleball players because I think it's a lot of fun. But I think we need to make sure tennis gets the mainstream as well, and we keep it alive, we keep it growing. The USTA Kentucky has done a great job with their grant programs, supporting tennis. I know the CKTS has done a phenomenal job. The Mountain Tennis Circuit, TAC in Lexington has done a great job as well. And then we've got, throughout the state, we've got these tennis associations that the USTA sponsored. Chris, I know you've been a part of all that and a part of the USTA committee and all that, and everyone has done a phenomenal job. We just got to keep that going. I want to get your thoughts on that as well, Chris.
Well, I've spent some time on the junior competition committee with USTA Kentucky and the adult competition committee most recently. And yeah, we're always looking for uh, ways to get more people to play, even if, we even, try to some extent, is if we can, arrange tournaments not to be on opposing weekends. Um, or not to be on the same weekend so that people have more opportunity to travel and play. There's a lot of opportunity, whether it's leagues or
Yep.
tournaments or teams, social activities like drop shots, and
Yep.
some communities have wild aces for the older adults for as a tennis social event. So if you look for it, you can find it, and you can compete on any level you want to compete.
And if there's people out there that needs financial support, we have USTA Kentucky grants. If people want to request a
Hmm.
grant for getting coached, or if you want to have a tennis court that you want to get resurfaced and you want to approach USTA Kentucky, there might be a possibility to get some support for that. I can't guarantee anything, but it's worth
No.
approaching the USTA Kentucky because they do so much out there behind the scenes that people are not even aware of, that they for the good of the
Right. I
game.
think that especially for helping junior players with finances, Raise a Racket Foundation
Yep.
does a lot for that, and it's just making people aware of it. And we try to do that on our podcast, as we mention Raise a Racket almost every episode, and whatever fundraiser they're doing, so that they can continue to do what they do.
I'm on the Razor Racket committee myself, and Chris, you beat
Okay.
me to the punch. And the exciting part about that is they're doing so much to help people out there with tennis, and that is an opportunity to reach out to the USTA. If someone out there needs support, like you said, Chris, if you're willing to pick up the phone or email or reach out to the USTA Kentucky, there's always can hook you up with the right person to help get you started. And
Hmm.
I know myself growing up, I lost my dad, a Korean War veteran. He passed. Mom raised four of us in a housing project, and we couldn't afford a tennis racket. Just to be totally frank with you, I could do the
Hmm.
basketball because I could play with it all summer. But at the end of the day, we don't know who out there. There's so many talented athletes that never pick a tennis racket up, right? And our best, most athletic people don't always play tennis. And there's a lot of kids out there, a lot of people out there. I hope to, when I retire down the road here in the next little while, I hope to be able to give something back to tennis beyond what I've been doing, with the USTA and my podcast, but maybe go out in the communities and play with some of the kids and kind of help some of the kids financially, get people where back where I started and let them know there's people out there that care, that people that can support you and
Hmm.
help you. And I just think there's so many kids that just don't get a shot, and they don't see tennis like you and I saw it growing up. I fell in love with the ATP Cincinnati. We had the
Hmm.
Borgs. I saw him right at the end. The Connors, the Lindells, the
Hmm.
McEnroes, VJ Armitage, Edberg, Vilander. I mean, I lived at that tournament, man. You could walk right
Uh-huh.
down, sit in the front row, and get an autograph back in the early 80s. I started playing in
Uh-huh.
81 and 82. I became a member of the Lexington Tennis Club and went to that thing every year. I go every year. And to me,
Yeah.
you can get a kid to that, it just inspires them. Like we
Hmm.
have the Lexington Challenger in Lexington every year. Dennis Emery started that up many years ago. And we have some of the top players in the world coming to Lexington. Now
Yes.
it's women and men. And if you can
Yeah.
get your high school team to come up to that thing and hang
Uh-huh.
out for a day or two, and take it in, man. I mean, it is just the sport of a lifetime. There's so much people can get out of tennis, Chris. I mean, for me, it changed my entire life at age 22 when I joined the tennis club, picked up a racket. It gave me a lot of confidence. I met so many people, lifelong friends like you and I talking now. And,
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it changed my destiny, even helped me get my first job, my big job in pharma. It came through tennis. I met a tennis player, Sean Parker. You turn my resume in, I get in that, changed my whole life, family tree, right? And tennis did that, right?
Yeah.
I remember going to PTR, getting my certification back in 1986. Almost didn't go, canceled it and called him back and did it. Best thing I ever did. I mean, I went down there for 2 weeks, met
Hmm.
Vandermeer, everybody hung out. Dan Sundstrom, Eddie, all of them, and hung out for 2 weeks with them. And it just tennis has got so much, Chris, that it can do to help people
Hmm.
grow. Right? You'd think just because I can't get the ball over the net, well, a lot of people don't can't get it over the net when they first start. But you can go out there, Chris, and pick a racket up in the dark and go serve, and nobody can see you, right? If you look bad. I mean,
Hmm.
I remember going
Yeah.
out at nighttime on our tennis courts, and I'd turn the lights on and hang out there for an hour or two, just practicing my serve till I could get it in, right?
Hmm.
And what was your most difficult part of tennis? What was the hardest part for you to learn, Chris, when you picked that racket up and started playing after the ping pong? What was it to you? Was there a stroke that you really had to? We have to refine them all because we know how
Yeah.
challenging
The
tennis
hardest
is.
part then is the hardest part now is
Okay,
the backhand.
I got you, bro.
And at age 54, after, about 40 years of playing or trying to play with a one-handed backhand,
Yep.
at age 54, I switched to a two-handed backhand.
Okay.
And I was guided by a coach in that, and
Mhm.
I can hit it okay, but it's certainly not a weapon. But as long as I stay healthy, it's going to be a weapon one day. So
Well, it's consistent. I
that,
mean,
but yeah, the
I
backhand.
noticed your consistency with it because I was trying to kick you out wide with that thing, and you would run over there and
Uh-huh.
angle it right back over to Mark. I'm like, dang, he's getting those. I mean, but it's a
I can hit a
timing thing.
slice. I
Yep.
can hit a slice
Yep.
backhand.
Oh,
Okay.
you do
Yeah.
that down the line as well. If you lean over too much over that way, you're going. That's my magical shot. That slice backhand. I love that shot.
Uh-huh.
But it
Yeah.
takes, like you said, it takes a commitment. You got to be willing to get
Hmm.
out on the court like you did after playing that ping pong and got excited about it. And
Well, I've told kids that I tell kids this, like my own son, he's 16, and he's only been playing tennis for a couple years because I didn't really push it on him
right,
as a youth. Like I um didn't want to push anything on him that he didn't
right.
want to do,
That's smart. Yeah,
except go to church.
that's smart.
And
Yeah,
so I would bring him to a couple of Lake Cumberland Tennis Association always has little clinics for kids and stuff.
yep,
So that's 30 minutes away. And I would take him to a couple of those, and he just didn't really seem to be into it that much.
right,
So I didn't push it. And then and when he was in eighth grade, February rolls around, and I work in an office at Russell County High School. I
right,
work for Russell County Schools, and my office is at Russell County High School. The middle school is next door across the parking lot. He calls me as an eighth grader at the end of the school day one day. He calls my
right.
office and said, "I'm staying for tennis practice. Will you be able to come get me about 4:30?" And I'm like, "Tennis? You're going to be on the tennis team? Wow, okay. Well, this is a new thing, sort
That
of,
is pretty
because I
cool.
had
Yeah,
kind of given up on that. But
it's
anyway,
cool.
I say that to say this is like I tell him and I tell other kids that are learning, I said, the the better you get, the more fun it becomes.
That's right.
Would you agree with that?
Oh my gosh, man. Once you
Yeah.
get that first taste of hitting that forehand
Hmm.
anywhere you want to,
Yeah.
you got that backhand, not only do you perfect it, but you can lay a drop shot anywhere you want across court, down the line. Then all of a sudden you put a lob up. You talk about
Hmm.
fun, dude. I mean, it just the fact you were able to master a shot, right?
Hmm.
And Chris, speaking of your son, I know you're the new tennis coach for the boys and girls there at Russell with the Laker program down there in South Central
Yep.
Kentucky. So tell us a little bit about kind of how that kind of came about, and it's what an awesome opportunity and experience to be able to do it with your son playing as well.
Well, it's my second stint as a tennis coach, and I had a
Yep,
20-year gap between.
that's right, you do. I
For
did see that. Yep, tell us
for
about
12
that.
years,
Yep.
I coached high school tennis. So starting out as a young teacher, I used to be a social studies teacher, and when I did my student teaching at Pulaski County High School, I just went up to the tennis coach one day in February when they were getting started. I went up to him and I said, "Hey, my name is Chris Godby. I play a little tennis. I'm going to be a teacher and I want to be a tennis coach someday. Do you mind if I help you volunteer and help you to be on your staff?" And his name was Alden Phelps, and he became a mentor of mine. And so he's like, "Sure, that's great." And so I, helped him that season. And then I got a job teaching at Somerset High School. Clifford Randall was the coach there at that time.
Wow.
So I was really excited to get to help him. I asked, can I volunteer and help you? The school didn't have a budget to pay for an
Right.
assistant. They barely paid the head coach.
Right.
Tennis coaches barely get paid as it is
I
anywhere.
know.
They'll all tell you that. And so I volunteered. Our boys team won the region that year, got some experience coaching girls. And then the very next year, I got hired at Russell County High School.
Okay.
They had a coach at that time. He wasn't quite ready to stop, and so he coached one more year, and then he gave it up, and I took it. Now that was a boys team. Here we had separate coaches for boys and girls at that time. So I took on the boys, Russell County boys, Laker tennis team, coached them for 10 years. We started out with six boys only. They had never played tennis before. We did manage to win a few matches though, so that was cool. And we got excited about what we were doing, and all of them graduated. It was six seniors, so year two had to start over completely. But then
Wow.
we had really had something to build on from there because had some younger players that
Right.
stayed for a while. And so 10 years, and after 10 years, I mean, sometimes you really hit a wall and say it's time to stop.
Right.
Like especially I am so bleeping competitive.
Yeah.
And I never knew I was really that competitive until I became a tennis coach.
Right.
And like the better we got, the more successful we became, the more competitive I became and the harder I seemed to push them. And I think that I did, we hear about tennis players having burnout. Tennis
Yep.
coaches can have burnout too.
Yes,
And
they
I
can. Yep.
I burned out. And we had a facility that you've played on, the old three old courts at Russell County High School. We had
Yep.
three courts, one of them's pointed in the wrong direction. And, I saw these teams that were more successful than us and that were just barely beating us. But they had better facilities, more courts. They had local teaching pros in the
Yep.
towns where they lived, and
Yep.
we just couldn't compete with that. I felt like at that time, and I had reached a point where I needed to stop. And I always thought in the back of my mind, I might do this again one day,
Right.
maybe. And then when my son decided to play, he coached or he played under another coach these last 2 years, and that coach had to step down for family reasons. And I thought, well, this is my chance. If I'm going to do it, this is it. And it may just be for 3 years
Right.
while he's in school,
Right.
but I want to see them have the what I envision as the best program they can have in
Yep.
this area with what we have in this area. So now we have a six-court facility
Oh, good.
that's really nice, and so we're going to give it a shot. We haven't started practicing yet or anything like that, but that
Well,
was my decision.
man, this is an exciting time, and it's great that you uh you know had a growth mindset to open your mind up to be able to take that challenge back on again,
Hmm.
knowing you've been through that and went through a lot of cycles of teams and players, and put your heart and
Hmm.
soul into it, and then it was time to step away, and now you've kind of it's great to see the light, your face light up. I can tell your passion's in there, the fire's in the belly again. Your boys playing, it's exciting to be able to do that. As it's challenging and exciting, right? And so to be
Hmm.
able to have that balance as a parent coach is something I know is in the back of your mind. But you're 56 now. You're not
Hmm.
24, right? So
Hmm.
you've been through seen a lot, done a lot. You've had some defeats in your time at this point to where you've been
Oh
able
yeah.
to understand how to take a step back and then take a step forward. And when it comes to competing and being almost too crazy competitive, I fall into the same boat. Probably you do. So, and I've had to adjust, as the body adjusts, right? But at the end of the day, Chris, what a blessing for you to be able to go back, and you've seen what happened when all of a sudden now you got better courts. You've gotten to be a better player. You can be a better coach, right? Because you can bring more to the team just in showing them a few things. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's going to be
Hmm.
beneficial. And then the fact that uh, the great thing is your son had an opportunity to fall in love with it with another coach as well, right? I mean, that's kind of cool. And so at the end of the day, it's a cool thing, Chris, that you're going to be able to impact lives with tennis, be a help the community to get engaged with it. The more the community gets involved, and the more the kids feel the value in it and supported, and you coach them with the love and the heart, whether they're getting beat or whether they're winning. Right? It's all about the growth. You and I know, no matter how good we've been in tennis, there's always that somebody that's going to come along and you know, it happens on the pro tour. Okay. If you look,
Hmm.
Novak gets beat 6-0 occasionally. He's got 24 grand slams. A kid
Hmm.
gets beat 6-0. It can devastate a child. But
Yeah.
I walked into that when I picked my racket up at 22 and said, bring it. I got beat 0-0 in my first tournament. Andy
Hmm.
Jackson, I got one game off of him. He played at UK. I didn't even know what I was up against, but I figured it
Hmm.
out pretty quick. And I said, I want more of that because I'm going to get a little better every time I do it. And then when you go back to your hometown tournament and play your local boys, they're not playing
Hmm.
at UK, right? So you're bringing a whole lot more experience with you when you go back. And I think that's the part of playing good teams, Chris. It makes you better, right?
Yes.
If you can withstand getting crushed, but you get to see what the next level looks like, or the next
Yes.
level, or the next level, right? And that's, Chris,
Yeah.
what you can bring back to this team is the fact that everyone has a starting point, and that's just a starting point, right? Um,
Right.
I'd be
I
curious.
could have had a
Yep.
I'm sorry. I
No.
could have had a better record if I had just played our local opponents,
Right.
our
Yep.
regional opponents
Yep.
only.
Yeah, there you
But
go.
we traveled to Lexington to play
Yep.
in invitational tournaments. We got on a bus a couple times and went all the way to Corbin, which is not a quick trip from here.
Nope.
And me knowing we're might win a match or two, but we're not going to take them down.
No,
And
because
even
they
with my
put the
best
time in for the
teams,
last 30, 40 years. Kurt Hart, Donnie Head,
uh,
I know all them guys. The
yeah,
you start thinking that they just do what you're talking about. They show up,
yeah,
they practicing on the weekends. I mean, they're playing the MTC tournaments. The coaches are teaching them outside of there's a lot of moving pieces to that thing. But if you get your players to see what it looks like, it's going to help
yes.
some of them that really want to play and want to develop. It will make them a better player,
Hmm.
right?
During my last 3 years, the first time around, were when I had my best teams, and I wanted them to play the best competition throughout the season,
Right.
win or lose. And they took the losing hard. But I
Yep.
mean, I think they know now, all these years later, that those were the best teams, and losing, even in a loss, they got better
If you
because
can
they
take point, I
played.
start with points, Chris.
Yes.
I like when I'd play Gary
Hmm.
Plock, or I'd play, all these great players in Kentucky. When I
Hmm.
started playing and growing up through it, I thought if I take a game off Gary Plock, I'm going to feel like, and Gary
Hmm.
didn't want to give me jack. Okay. I know he didn't. He ran my
Yeah.
brains out a few times, but
Hmm.
I kept doing it, and finally one day I got Gary. Now Gary's he still calls me and wants me bad, right? But the point is, if you keep working, dude, I mean, tell these
Yeah.
kids, ain't there's nothing that you can't do if you put your heart, mind, and soul to it. And their opponents, if you don't get them in the juniors or in high school,
Uh-huh.
keep playing and you'll get them in the senior. You'll get them in the 18 over, 25 over, 35, whatever it takes.
Hmm.
But you just got to, again, I think kids sometimes when they're really young, and I've taught a lot of kids myself, they reflect back on what they learned through the process, right? Sometimes facing adversity and facing it head on and being able to stay in the box and serve the ball and get it in and give it your
Hmm.
best shot. If I lost, I always wanted to leave it. I wanted to make them feel it. I might go
Hmm.
down with an L, but it's a hot 95-degree day. You're going to
Hmm.
need some extra Pedialyte. We're going to stay out there a while. It might be an O, but you're going to sweat. It's going to hurt. And I just want
Yeah.
to make it, I want to make it as uncomfortable for my opponent as I can, Chris. And I
Yeah.
think that is when the kids learn that part about,
Hmm.
like you said, the nutrition, the
Hmm.
fitness, being in the gym,
Sleep.
the sleep, all of it,
Hmm.
right? And that's something you can bring to the table, man, because you're aware of all those elements. And then sometimes you might get a player that their second or third match that day, and they might be better than you, but
Hmm.
you're prepared, right? And their
Yeah.
legs can't take it, and you knock them out, right? So that's the
Hmm.
fun part of tennis is the competition. Back to what you were saying, right?
Yeah. We've had parents ask, why are you making our kids run at practice? Why are
Because
they
tennis is a
running
running
laps
sport.
and
Yeah.
running sprint? What does running have to do with tennis? And I'm like, well, not only do you run a lot during a point, but it conditions you and gives you more endurance for long matches on
Yep.
hot days when
It
it's
does.
the points are really long and the match is really close. And if you're just that much more fit than the other person, you might win. Even if they're a little bit better than you might pull out a win against them.
Oh, Chris, I can tell you right now, and playing the CKTS down in E-Town many years in my 40s playing Campbellsville players, there's no way in hell I should have beat those Campbellsville players, some of them. But the point is
Yeah.
that it was hot. And those
Yes.
kids, man, when you grind and you're out there for the third hour and they're
Yeah.
going, Vamoose, Vamoose, I'm screaming Vamoose, right? And
Yeah.
the point is, their legs go too. I mean, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's how bad do you want it? How much effort are you willing to put into it? And if you show up in the best shape of your life, a lot of the younger players, even 18 and over today, they don't put in the gym, they don't put in the fitness, and they got a beautiful ground stroke. Well, when you make them
Hmm.
hit 15 of them in a point, they start missing, they start spraying.
Yep.
And that's where
Yep.
your players can have an advantage. If they're more fit, they're mentally tough. They may not have the strokes these cats have, but when I always loved it when I pulled up at the club and a guy brought in 4 bags and a sports car, and he had his girlfriend in the front seat and the top was down. He's running in. I'm thinking I'm going to take his legs. You know what I'm saying? So my point is, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about fitness, man. It's all about mental toughness and it's about getting the ball back in play. A lot of guys want to
Hmm.
look good and rip backhands and forehands, but if they can't keep it in play and you can't, it's all about depth and consistency in my mind, right? That wins you a
You
lot of
got to get
matches.
it back one more time than they do.
There you
You
go,
know,
Chris. So that's
the
something as a
more balls
coach.
they hit, the more chance they have for
There you
error.
go. And
Right.
I'm not tooting my horn. All I'm saying is at the end of the day, I think we put so much emphasis on how well we look, how well we dress on the, all that's great. But to me, it comes down to
Hmm.
flat out intestinal fortitude and showing up knowing you put the work in, right?
Yeah.
And you're knowing that you're going to make it tough on your opponent because you want it as much as they do, right? And I think that ties
Hmm.
into the mindset piece to the coaching part, right?
For
So, Chris,
sure.
tell, hey man, so excited for you taking on this new opportunity, even though you've been doing it before. Sounds like you're kind of gearing up for it. It's getting ready to kick off here in February. Is that right?
Hmm. Yeah. February. Hmm.
Okay, that's when the practice kicks in. Hey man, so taking that, Chris, I know the CKTS is something that you've taken a lot of pride working with these, with that group and things that you've done. Could you just give us a little background maybe on CKTS for some people out there who have not come played it and kind of give them some insights around kind of what it consists of?
Yeah, sure. So in 2003, that's the first year of CKTS. I had been running a little tournament in the fall, and you played in it. I was running a little tournament here in Russell Springs on our 3 courts because we had two courts at two different city parks have 2 courts nearby. And so we had, enough courts to have a little tournament, and I would do it, to help out the team, raise some money for the team, that kind of thing. And Cliff Randall in Somerset, my tennis mentor, he was also running a tournament in Somerset, and they were close together in as far as weekends. And our friend Dwayne Harris lived in Columbia. I don't know if you know Dwayne. He lived in Columbia at the time, and he was a tennis player too, and a runner, and
Yep.
very active, very fit person, still to this day. And he had a little tournament, and I started thinking, why don't we put these tournaments together,
Wow.
make them count for points?
Yep.
I know there was another organization at that time and still doing that
Yep.
too. But I thought, over in our kind of direction geographically, we'll do something similar and maybe improve on it. And so we lined up a Danville tournament also.
Yeah.
So
I
Columbia,
played that one
Somerset,
as
Russell
well.
Springs,
Yep.
Danville.
Yep.
Danville fell through in planning the first year, but
Okay.
Larry Milby at Campbellsville bailed us out, and he had the fourth tournament
Oh,
that
good.
year.
Okay.
So four tournaments that first year grow to, I think, six the very next year. Bo O'Brien and E-Town had come to Campbellsville to play that tournament.
Yep.
And he got to talking to me and to Cliff Randall, and he, said he wanted to have a tournament and have it on the CKTS. So boom, we have Elizabethtown,
Oh, yeah. That's a
and
great one. Yep.
and then we had Glasgow, and
Yep.
then a few years down the road, Bowling Green, and
Yep.
we've been in Harrodsburg and
Yep.
Bardstown, and so there
You
are
had the
places
Beef
we're no
Festival in
longer
Harrisburg, didn't you? With the Beef
the Beef
Festival.
Festival.
I remember
Yes,
getting a shirt that had the Beef
yeah,
Festival on it. Yeah. Yeah.
yes. So
Yep.
we went from four tournaments in the first year to eight within, I don't know, 3 years or so. And so
Yep.
I'm still coaching high school when it starts.
Wow.
And I thought this is going to be a good way to get my players to play in the summer.
Yep.
That didn't go really to the extent that I wanted it to. I mean,
Right.
these kids have jobs in the summer,
Yep.
and some of them play football and soccer, and that gets started in the
Yep.
summer. And so, that part of my grand plan
Just didn't go, didn't
didn't
work
really
out. Yeah.
come to fruition.
Right.
But, it did definitely raise awareness of local community tennis, and it got tournaments in places where there weren't any before, or there hadn't been any for a long time. And it just really got some tennis going in these rural areas of Kentucky. And as it got bigger, that also made me feel a pull away from doing high school
Gotcha.
coaching.
Yep.
And I was at that 10 years at one school point
Yep.
where, maybe it's time to let somebody else do this. But that's how CKTS got started.
Okay.
It's a
I did not
collection
know
of
that.
tournaments
I
among
had no,
friends,
I had no idea.
and
Yep.
mhm. And
I,
with a point of trying to get my own boys
yep.
on my team to
Right.
keep active, and some of
That
them
was one of the
did, but
motivators. Originally when you were
mhm,
kind of putting it together, you thought maybe my tennis team could benefit from this as well.
mhm, yeah,
And I probably started playing it right when it started then, or around that time, I guess.
probably,
I'm trying to think
probably.
back because I did come to Russell Springs and played that one. And I can't remember in the finals who I played, but I do remember that one. And then I remember the Danville one because I played the Casey County. There was two brothers from Casey County that were really good. I know my brain is fried right now, but the ambidextrous was the one kid. He played at Campbellsville. I know you know him. Good kid from Casey County. And
Are you
then
talking about Justin Martin?
yeah, Justin. I
Well,
played Justin.
he played at Lindsey Wilson.
Oh, was
Yes.
it Lindsay? You're right. I
Yeah.
played Justin. Good
Yep.
kid, man. Great guy.
Yeah.
Great
Switch-handed.
family.
He could serve with either
Oh, I
hand.
played. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was playing them with
Hmm.
both hands in Danville when I
Yeah.
played. But I do remember the Harrisburg one and I mean, they were all great tournaments. I think I played every one of them at least. That one summer, I think I played them all, but it was great, great time. And it's great to just to be a part of it when it originated. And every year I've come back and tried to play a couple. I know E-Town
Hmm.
was always a big one, right? For you guys, one
Yeah.
of the bigger ones.
Hmm.
And now I think Bo did a great job with that as well. And you've had a lot of people, Chris, who've done a great job putting those together in those towns. Larry Milby was another one that I can recall that
Hmm.
I played down there, played Bernie in the finals of that one. Been a lot of
Hmm.
fun ones, man, a lot of good competition. And what was
Yeah.
really cool is you had doubles and singles and you had juniors playing, right?
Yeah.
Did a lot
All
of the ju
ages.
you always
Hmm.
had all age groups, man. Do you recall what the biggest turnout you ever had for one of those might be on a weekend from a player head count standpoint?
I think one year in Elizabethtown, I think we had around 225 one
I
time
think so. I've probably
in
played that time.
Elizabethtown.
I remember
Yeah.
we had some big ones. I mean, they had to play them on four courts, I believe, from what I recall. This was
It was all
before
over
they had,
town,
yeah, this was before they had the
before
lake
Freeman Lake.
courts.
Hmm.
Before Freeman Lake,
Yeah.
they had them. I remember where they had them on those courts before Freeman Lake. I could remember the courts went up like this to the middle.
Right.
Yeah, just like
To
that.
the
Yeah,
to the net in the middle,
yeah.
two downhill. You're hitting uphill both
Uphill to
ways.
go
Yeah.
in and downhill on the way back. Yeah, that was
I did
fun.
not like those courts. We don't use
Yeah.
those anymore.
Yeah, I
We don't
remember
play
that
there anymore.
experience. So
Yeah.
I did have a little success on those courses, but maybe that was an advantage for me with some of these college boys coming out playing on those. courts are kind of angled. But there was a lot of fun playing those, made a lot of friends. And Chris, I know can you, in your mindset, when you reflect back on that experience, looking at it through your lens today, what are some things that you gained from all those experiences with tennis through CKTS? What might
Well,
be?
I mean, I've made a lot of friends.
Yeah,
I've won a lot of first and second place trophies,
yeah,
playing doubles and maybe occasionally in singles. I haven't played singles in a long, long time. Um, but the friendships,
yep,
I mean, they're people like you that I met from CKTS, and then and then I don't see you in 5 years, and then I see you this past
right.
summer, and it's just like there was no time that went
Exactly.
by,
There's no time warp
and
with
and
tennis
then
players. Yeah,
I make a new friend in your doubles partner,
yep,
Mark Taylor,
yep.
who's become a big fan of my podcast, and he texts me every couple weeks,
Yeah, he's
talking
really
about the
into it, man.
podcast,
Yep,
and yeah.
yep, yep,
So you never know who you're going to see. You never know what kind of memories you're going to make,
yep.
and what kind of new friends you're going to make.
Hey, Chris, if I could put it in a nutshell based on my lens and you got your lens, and we kind of put these, people who are playing tennis don't understand or don't realize sometimes when you open that door up what you're going to get from it. Uh, it's a social sport. It's a competitive sport. It can be as competitive as you want to make it. There's so many
Hmm.
good people out there that would do anything to help you in tennis. Like if you wanted to just get out and hit some balls, and everyone started at the same point. I don't care if you're, if you look back and you look at the greatest players to ever come out of Kentucky, and I've been doing a Kentucky Tennis Legend Series lately, and every one of those players, if you look at Mel Purcell, you look at Gary Plock, you can look at Susan Sloan, you can look at Julie Diddy, all those players, incredible people. I mean, they're just incredible, and they all picked up a tennis racket, had a tennis ball, and had to make that first ball strike.
Hmm.
And every kid starts from, we all don't always start monetarily from the same spot. I know I didn't,
Hmm.
but that doesn't mean it can't stop your love and dream for tennis, right? You'll find a
Hmm.
way when you want to do something. And I'm just reaching out to everybody out there that if you pick a racket up, go to a tennis court and just have fun. There's something about hitting a tennis ball that's so rewarding
Oh
over
yeah.
time. The more you hit it, I got burned out at one time in my career at age 35, took a year, 18 months off.
Hmm.
And I was just because I was competing so hard, I just had to put the racket down. Mike Eden would call me, "You ready yet?" Tom Fowler would call me, "You ready to play yet?" Charlie Burns, "I'm worried about you. You okay?" And so 18 months went by, and I finally one day got up, picked the racket up, and went back out on the court, and I've been out there ever since. But
Good.
we go through ups and downs, and when you're competitive.
Hmm.
And I think what we can get out of this, it's kind of like life. When you get up every morning, you put your feet on the floor, and you got to go to work. You got family, you got all these things. There's going to be great days, and there's going to be challenging days, and that's kind of why we got church on Sunday. The way I look at it, it kind of helps get
Hmm.
us calibrated, right? Well, tennis is kind of like that too. It's not all roses, but man, there's a lot of roses out there if you keep coming back and you fall in love with it. And that's the way anything kind of is in life. The more you fall in love with it, the more you get out of it, the more people you meet. And there's just something about tennis that we all, um, it just brings us together, man. Sports brings people together, right?
Hmm.
And I feel like tennis has got something. It's got a lot that people that don't play just don't understand. The brotherhood, the sisterhood. I played a lot of. I played Susan McNeil, Julie Diddy, Susan Sloan. I've been blessed to get on the court with all of them, and they're all incredible players. But for me, I just wanted that opportunity to get out and hit with the best and play with the best and see what that looked like and what it felt like. And I just think that, Chris, you and I both have fallen in love with something that we can share on this podcast today. And I'm just thrilled to have you on here and want to thank you for joining me here today to talk tennis.
I appreciate it. Like from 2013 to 2018, like a 5 year stretch there, I barely played any tennis at all. And I
Okay.
was still overseeing the CKTS. I was still
Right.
coming to the tournaments
Right.
and handing out t-shirts,
Right.
and just watching matches and putting scores in the
Right.
computer. And I was injured.
Oh, you got hurt? Okay.
Yeah, I've always dealt with shoulder or elbow or
Yep.
wrist or something like that. And then most recently it was my foot, Achilles.
Yep.
And so like for 5 years there, and I'd gotten fat and
Yep.
just the more time I spent on the sidelines, the easier it was to just stay on the sidelines. And then finally one day I decided I'm going to play, and I just made it happen,
You put
for
mind
better
over matter,
or
went out there
worse.
and you toughened up a little bit and got it going again.
I lost 35 pounds and, started doing some workouts at home, and I've gained some of that weight back now that I'm trying to lose again. But like I was just determined that that fitness was not going to get in the way
I love
of
that, man. I
the
love that.
success that I can have on the court,
I love that.
with my
Absolutely.
limited skills.
Yep.
At least I was going to be fit. And so I'll tell you one thing that really got me back into it was playing drop shots over in
Okay.
Somerset. Just a social league. It's
Yep.
men, women. It's just doubles. They just throw you out there for a few hours. You rotate around, play
Well,
for
you're not even
fun.
thinking about it. You're just having fun hitting the ball, right?
Not
And all of a
not
sudden
tr
you're
really
doing it.
trying to win, just
Yeah.
talking to people, getting to know
Yep.
people, and then with drop shots, as you may know, you go out and eat and have a drink or something afterwards. And so it was just fun to be around people
I
playing
love that.
tennis and having fun again, apart from the CKTS tournaments.
Oh, I love
And
that.
so
Yeah.
I think that's what got me playing again, and here I am still trying to play.
Hey, Kristen, we can do drop shots anywhere, right? I mean, we could hook up with that and bring that here to Versailles if I wanted to do something like that with the community. That's something I'll
I'm pretty
probably need to,
sure,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's a USTA Kentucky
Yeah, I'll have to
initiative. I'm
check
pretty
into
sure
that.
Brian Hash is the
Yep.
one
Yeah, Brian does a great
who
job.
came
Yeah.
up with that,
Yeah.
and he's not there anymore at USTA Kentucky, but
Yeah.
they still, there are still communities that have drop shots, and it is fun.
Hey, Chris. Hey, man, your time is of the most essence, and I really appreciate you being on. It's great just going down memory lane with you and
Hmm.
being able to chat with you about everything that we're discussing, man. It's just so cool. Hey, I wanted to run a couple things by you. This is Growth Mindset of a Champion podcast. And first thing, when you hear growth mindset, what comes to your mind in regards to growth mindset? You had to think of that for a minute.
Well, to not be complacent
Yep.
um, with what you have and what you're doing. I mean, if even the CKTS is relatively successful. Our numbers of participation have ebbed and flowed with, I think, national tennis participation,
Right.
and kind of peaked around 2020 when people were looking for something to do outside. But I'm always looking for ways to improve the organization while I'm still leading it.
I love it.
And I said earlier in this interview, as a player, I'm never satisfied. I want to grow
Right.
as a player, even at my age. Maybe I've slowed down a little, or my body wears out faster, but I still want to find all the advantages that I can,
Hmm.
whether it's conditioning or just smart doubles play,
Yep.
to be able to succeed. And
Yep.
then I'll still never be satisfied with that. I just
Yep.
not dissatisfied to the extent that it causes mental anguish, but
Right.
like unsatisfied in hungry for more success,
I love it. Yep.
to keep going and keep spanning. I've joined teams. I never really played team tennis,
Right.
and this year I was on a combo team.
Yeah.
And I had never done that before, and I thought it was a really a blast.
Yeah. A
We
lot of
we won one and
camaraderie.
lost one, but
Yeah.
it was fun. And so I'm
What,
hoping to do more than that.
what,
More of that if I can
I
stay
love it, man.
healthy.
That's a great definition of growth mindset. Looking at it through your lens and challenging yourself to do more. What about fixed
Mhm.
mindset? When you hear the word fixed mindset, what pops into your mind?
I mean, fixed mindset sounds almost like a recipe for failure, meaning that everything changes. I was in education for well, I'm still in education, but I was in the classroom for 25 years, and you have to roll with the times and the trends there. I mean, there are some elements of that career that will always be the same, and they should be. But I mean, especially with the advent of educational technology,
Hmm.
teaching now is so much different than it was when I started in the 90s.
Hmm.
And you have to, if you want to keep doing things the way you always did them, you're not going to reach today's kids.
Right.
And so whether it's education or if it's a company you're running, trends change. What is in and what is popular and how you reach people changes, and you have to change with it and hopefully stay ahead of it, or
Yep.
you're going to fall behind in the fixed mindset.
That's a great definition. Not being willing to change or being stuck, not growing.
Hmm.
And with technology now, as we all know, you've got to keep moving and keep growing, or you're going to get left behind. Uh, in regards to the CKTS as an example, what do you think a junior or adult player could gain from joining the CKTS and getting involved in that uh, summer league, summer tournament series? What do you think would be an advantage for a junior and or an adult?
Well, for a junior, too many juniors, when high school season ends in the middle of May or late May, they put that racket down and they don't touch it again until February when it's time for spring again next year. And that's a real disadvantage.
Right,
They're doing themselves a big disservice. Now, if they're involved in other sports, and that's a different story. I don't want to try to
right,
say a kid should only focus on one sport. I don't personally believe that. But if they're not doing anything else, sports wise, like they're not in summers preparing for high school soccer or football or something like that, they're doing themselves a disservice by not training, playing tennis recreationally with their friends for fun, taking lessons if they can afford it, if it's something they can afford to do, going to camp and playing these CKTS tournaments, because they're going to compete with people that they don't normally see from other parts. We get players from other parts of Kentucky.
right.
We get players from Tennessee. We get players from Indiana. We get players from Ohio. We get players from Florida. Um,
Yep.
and so for kids, yes, it's good for them to be in this and compete. And for adults, um, if they're a competitor, here's your place to compete. There's an age division for you. There's a skill level for you. Singles, doubles, mixed doubles. It's a family affair. Your kids can play in one division while you're playing in another. You and your wife can play mixed doubles if you both play. Um, and I think for adults, maybe more than the kids, it becomes a social thing. You form friendships by talking to other parents and all the commonalities you have as a junior or having a junior that plays tennis or and sometimes you as an adult you do compete with the same people a lot. You compete against the same players a lot and you
Yep.
become friends with them in the process. And so the competition and the tennis becomes something to look forward to, but also um, the friendships and partnerships that you form becomes a very valuable part of being in the CKTS.
Chris, it's been a real pleasure having you on today. And I really appreciate your feedback on growth mindset, fixed mindset, CKTS, junior, senior piece that we just talked about. It's just so beneficial uh, to be able to get you on here and tap into your knowledge and your background and all the things you've been affiliated with uh, in your life journey in regards to
Mhm.
tennis and being an educator. I just want to thank you for everything you've done, everything you're doing, and everything you're going to do as we go into 2026 here with the Russell County Laker tennis team. That's going to be exciting. Maybe we can get back together again at the end of next year and just get a reflection back as to
Sure.
how you grew, what you learned, and how it could help other coaches out there who are out there every day grinding and loving tennis at different stages of the career. And you've got a lot of value to add and bring to some of those people. So, Chris, thanks so much for being on. And I just want to thank you for being on, and hope you have a great new year. And
Happy New
until we
Year to
get to
you.
do this again, brother, I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. It's been fun.